Welcome to ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy. Marvel Studios' She-Hulk series is going to have a lot of cameo appearances from characters throughout the MCU. We've already seen Bruce Banner, and trailers have confirmed that we'll be seeing the Sorcerer Supreme Wong and fellow really good lawyer Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil. But we're going to speculate on who else is going to pop up this season. After all, She-Hulk is heading up a superhuman law division, so it makes sense that some other superhumans from other MCU shows and movies may be in need of legal representation. First up, we've got Ben Grimm's The Thing.
It's clobberin time.
Now, in the comics, She-Hulk has been a member of the Fantastic Four, and she actually took the Thing's place on the team for a little while at the end of the 1984 Secret Wars comics. So we think that we may actually see her become a member of the MCU's Fantastic Four following the Avengers Secret Wars. We've seen She-Hulk and the Thing have a lot of great moments in the comics and in the animated series.
Either way, you look hunky enough to share.
And most recently, we've seen She-Hulk represent the Fantastic Four in a custody battle in Dan Slott's Fantastic Four number 38. Now, we don't have a time to do a deep dive on that comic in this video, but essentially the Fantastic Four villain, the Wizard, is suing the Fantastic Four for custody of his clone, Bentley 23. The Fantastic Four have asked Jennifer Walters' She-Hulk to be their lawyer. Now, so far, the only Fantastic Four member that we've met in the MCU is Reed Richards' Mr. Fantastic.
Reed Richards of the Fantastic Four.
And he wasn't even Universe 616's Reed Richards. He was from Universe 838.
Our universe is 838, and we've designated yours 616.
With the MCU officially being in its multiverse saga, the Ben Grimm we see in She-Hulk could be from Universe 838 as well. In Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, we saw Wanda dreamwalk. Now, dreamwalking is when you transport your consciousness into a variant of yourself in another universe. Dreamwalking causes incursions.
An incursion occurs when the boundary between two universes erodes, destroying one or both entirely.
And at the end of Multiverse of Madness, we learned that an incursion has begun, and we've theorized this incursion is with Universe 838. The 838 X-Men, Avengers, Inhumans, and Fantastic Four are likely very upset after Wanda's slaughtering of the Illuminati. So what if we get to see Ben Grimm's The Thing travel to Universe 616? At first, he's seeking revenge for the death of his best friend, Reed Richards. But this leads him to encountering the Sorcerer Supreme, Wong. We then get to see an emotional scene where Ben tells Wong about how Reed had a wife and children. Wong expresses his condolences and explains that Wanda is dead.
Right.
Ben then shares with Wong that his universe's Wanda is facing life in prison for the deaths of the Illuminati. Remember, there's footage of Wanda killing them all, and it's the 838 Wanda's body doing all the killing. And sure, Christine Palmer can testify that the 838 Wanda was possessed by another universe's Wanda, but that might not hold up in court.
Right.
With the 838 Wanda about to be convicted for crimes she did not commit, Wong says that he knows someone who might be able to help, and then he refers the Thing to his lawyer friend, Jennifer Walters. Imagine us getting to see She-Hulk travel to another universe to represent the 838 Wanda Maximoff, and we see Wong serve as their star witness to the events of Multiverse of Madness. Maybe we'll even see Doctor Strange himself come along for the ride. Tatiana Maslany, who plays Jennifer Walters, said this when asked who she'd like to see She-Hulk represent.
Is there like another Marvel villain who you think it'd be fun to have to go to bat for?
That's cool. I feel like Wanda has had some tough times.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a nuanced defense that would have to be placed for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, she's not saying this is confirmation that it's happening. In fact, it's kind of the opposite. If this was the direction they were going, there's no way she would reveal this in an interview, unless she takes after her on-screen cousin, Mark Ruffalo.
Wait till you see this next one. Everybody dies.
Dude.
Not everybody.
Now, speaking of cameos from another universe, we've got fellow fourth wall breaker, Deadpool.
Oh, hello.
We know Deadpool is joining the MCU, yet how he makes his way into Universe 616 has yet to be revealed. We've theorized that his time traveling and universe hopping at the end of Deadpool 2 could be how he arrives. In the comics, we've seen She-Hulk talk directly to writers, so what if in her Disney Plus series, we see her make her way to Marvel Studios? Maybe she's unhappy with the direction the show is going and she decides she needs to speak with Kevin Feige. When she enters Marvel Studios, she demands to speak to Feige, but is told she has to have an appointment. She then decides to just walk into his office. She busts open the door and Feige stands up from his desk. He says, "Jennifer, do you have an appointment?" And she's like, "No, but this is urgent." And then we hear a familiar voice say, "Listen, Fiona, I'm negotiating my contract here." And then Feige asks Jennifer, "What's so urgent?" Jennifer goes on to explain how she's unhappy with this episode's storyline and threatens legal action if it isn't changed. Feige agrees to She-Hulk's demands and calls showrunner Jessica Gao and tells her to make some changes. Deadpool then says to Jennifer, "Hey, you're a lawyer, right? Think you can help me out here?" And then She-Hulk could call him a Deathstroke knockoff and walk out. Next up, we've got Spider-Man. Now, Spider-Man and She-Hulk have shared the page many times in the comics. One of their best team-ups was when Spider-Man sued J. Jonah Jameson for slander.
I resent that. Slander is spoken. In print, it's libel.
Now, we've got a video up over on Comics Alliance breaking down that comic, which you should really check out. In Spider-Man No Way Home, we saw J. Jonah Jameson ruthlessly go after Spider-Man.
When will people wake up and realize that everywhere Spider-Man goes, chaos and calamity ensue?
So what if Spider-Man reaches out to his really good lawyer, Matt Murdock, to sue Jameson? Matt is likely tied up in his case defending Happy Hogan regarding Stark drones.
I could say, under advisement of counsel, I refuse to answer the question respectfully because the answer could incriminate me.
You're gonna need a really good lawyer.
So Matt refers Spider-Man to his colleague, Jennifer Walters.
Attorney at law.
And remember, following the final spell at the end of No Way Home, no one remembers that Spider-Man is Peter Parker. And that works out because in the comic, it isn't Peter Parker that's suing Jameson, it's Spider-Man. So we could see Spider-Man in costume in a courtroom alongside She-Hulk. And of course, if he's suing J. Jonah Jameson, that means we also get to see J.K. Simmons on the show.
You serious?
Now, look, this is unlikely to happen since Spider-Man is tied up with Sony. Sony holds all the live-action rights to Spider-Man. So while Marvel Studios is allowed to use Spider-Man in animated TV shows, they're not allowed to use him in live action without permission from Sony. Now, She-Hulk showrunner has commented on Spider-Man's involvement in the series. Apparently, the writer's room had a ton of big Spidey fans who really wanted to include him in the show. But it was made very clear early on that Spider-Man was a no-go for the series. Oh, come on! But hey, maybe Jennifer Walters, being the great lawyer she is, maybe she can work out a deal with Sony for him to appear. And also, this could be a misdirect, a way for us to not speculate Spider-Man will be on the show at all, just so he can pop up as a surprise cameo. Another hero She-Hulk has represented in the comics was Steve Rogers' Captain America.
I am Steve Rogers.
More specifically, an elderly and retired Steve Rogers, similar to the Cap we saw at the end of Avengers Endgame. In the comics, Steve is facing a wrongful death suit dating back to the 1940s. He then goes to his old friend Jennifer Walters to be his lawyer, and then it's revealed that the prosecution's lawyer is none other than Matt Murdock.
I'm a really good lawyer.
Next, we have Kate Bishop, and more specifically her mother, Eleanor Bishop. At the end of Hawkeye, we saw Eleanor arrested for her involvement with the Kingpin, so she'll definitely be needing some legal representation. But with her not being a superpowered individual, she may not qualify to be one of Jen's clients. Now, we've speculated that all these Disney Plus series might be leading up to a culmination event of their own, with the Kingpin as the main villain. With Daredevil appearing in She-Hulk, maybe we'll learn that he's reaching out to Jennifer for help in a case to bring down the Kingpin. And maybe he needs help convincing Eleanor Bishop to flip on the big man. Now, unlike many Marvel projects, She-Hulk doesn't take place in New York. She's on the West Coast in LA. Scott Lang and Hope Van Dyne, aka Ant-Man and the Wasp, also live on the West Coast in San Francisco. Now, Scott Lang has had some run-ins with the law before. He even served time in prison for a Robin Hood-style burglary.
They were overcharging the customers, right? And it added up to millions. He blows the whistle and he gets fired. He hacks into the security system and transfers millions back to the people that they stole it from.
And then he was placed on house arrest for violating the Sokovia Accords when he helped Cap in Civil War.
I'm shaking your hand too long. Wow, this is awesome. Captain America. I know you too. You're great.
Now, the Sokovia Accords is an international legal document signed by many countries in support of regulating superhumans. With Jennifer being in charge of the superhuman legal division, the Sokovia Accords seem like something that will be very likely mentioned in this show. Now, Scott is now a free man, but I could see him yet again being pursued for violating the Sokovia Accords in Avengers Endgame. So while all the other heroes may have been let off following the big battle at the end of Endgame, perhaps Scott Lang is being pursued because he violated the Accords while on parole. We could then see an awesome court case pan out where She-Hulk argues the fact that Scott Lang played a pivotal role in bringing back half the population.
Time heist?
In one of the post-credit scenes in the Eternals, we were introduced to the brother of Thanos, Star Fox.
What a pleasure.
to make your acquaintance.
Now in the comics, She-Hulk and Star Fox were in a relationship, and we know from trailers that Jennifer Walters is on the market.
I'm not proud of this.
So maybe we'll see Star Fox make his way to Earth and sing Sweet Creature to Jennifer.
Sweet creature.
In Thor: Love and Thunder, we saw that New Asgard has become a tourist attraction. So what if a tourist got hurt during Gorr's attack? We could see New Asgard being sued, and perhaps that has resulted in it being shut down as a tourist location. Tourism is how New Asgard is able to support itself. So maybe we'll see King Valkyrie reach out to She-Hulk in a desperate attempt to save her country. And speaking of fictional countries in the MCU, we've got Wakanda. The Dora Milaje appeared in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and we know that Okoye is getting her very own Disney Plus series. Now we know that Wakanda is now opening itself up to the world and working more closely with other governments and sharing their technologies.
We will be sharing our knowledge and resources with the outside world.
So maybe we could see Okoye, Shuri, and Queen Ramonda herself come to the US. Maybe there's some type of legal proceedings taking place regarding their newfound partnership with the United States. And maybe it'll have something to do with the Sokovia Accords. Remember, King T'Chaka was a big supporter of the Accords.
I am grateful to the Avengers for supporting this initiative.
And last but certainly not least, Wolverine. In episode 2 of She-Hulk, we saw this headline on Jen's computer screen. Man fights with metal claws and bar brawl. This is of course a reference to the most popular mutant, Wolverine.
Go yourself.
Now, while some may be quick to write this off as merely a tease that he exists in the MCU, we think that it may be more than that. We think this means he could be appearing in the She-Hulk series as one of Jen's clients. We've seen Wolverine in many a bar fight in the Fox X-Men films, but maybe this time he gets arrested and is in need of a superhuman defense lawyer. So that's just some of our thoughts on who can appear in the new She-Hulk series, but if you have any thoughts of your own, let us know in the comments below, or feel free to @ me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, be sure to subscribe and smash that bell for alerts. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.